I have looked at this now 15 years in Singapore and 10 years in Qatar. I can tell you that an MBA program to succeed, there is no option but hard work. Not making general manager after an MBA is like an insult to the MBA. If I had a liberal arts background, history, geography, rhetoric, English, logic, I could have probably crafted a better experience for myself at IIM than I actually ended up doing. It's very, very difficult to find another job if you lose your job at age 35, 40, 45. It's, in some industries, it's almost impossible to find another job. Company must have a plan. People should be worried about putting in such a large investment if you add in also the opportunity cost of not working for 2 years. And they should get a couple of years of experience. If you get the sense that you are not going to grow in this organization until you have that degree, I think that validates your decision. तब तो degree लेने को जाना है.
Alright, welcome once again to another interesting video that we have, or as we assume that it's going to be interesting because of the guest that I have with me today. I have with me someone who is an IIT Kharagpur alumnus, who is an IIM Calcutta alumnus, and he has done his PhD from Minnesota. Welcome, Professor Amit. Give us a little context to our audience as to who we are talking to today and what probably are the areas that we can discuss.
I think going backwards in time, I have been teaching at Krea University, specifically the IFMR Graduate School of Business, for the last 4.5 years. Nowadays, I teach mostly data science and a little bit of information systems. Before this, I taught at Qatar University in Doha, Qatar for 10 years. There, I taught more of management and some information systems. And even before that, I was at NTU, Nanyang Technological University in Singapore for 15 years. So all this time, I've also been doing some research, publishing my papers, attending conferences, trying to be a member of the academic community. But all this happened after I got my PhD from the US and from the University of Minnesota. I worked for 3 years in Tata Motors. That's all my corporate experiences. In that time, I was a market research officer. I used to do market research for Tata Motors.
And I would personally like to be part of one of your case classes sometime if I get that opportunity. Let's try and understand. You've taught in places like Nanyang, which is in Singapore. We have taught in Qatar also for the longest time, and I'm talking about different countries, and in any country that we go to, there are different perspectives that emerge from there as well. So in your case, what are the kind of these perspectives that you probably, at hindsight, would look at it and then see that, probably I can bring this from there to a classroom that I am going to and teaching here at IFMR, and then making some impacts in the lives of the students?
What I found in Singapore is that people are willing to take the hard option always. When I joined NTU, it had just been upgraded from a polytechnic called NTI, National Technical Institute. And from there to become a FT50 Economist 100 college in business, top rated college, top rated university, the options were very clear कि आपको जम के काम करना है. You have to work your butt off for faculty, for students, for administrators, for everybody. In Singapore, people, once they are told that this is what it takes, they will grind their teeth and they will do it. They will succeed, however painful it might be, but they will not let go until they achieve it. But in Qatar, I found that they also learned sort of the same lessons, that this is what it takes, to crack whatever you're trying to crack. And then they start looking for sort of other ways. Or bhi koi way hai kya? I mean, this itself is too complicated. You're telling me to publish 3 papers a year. I've never published even one. It's hard. You're telling the students to read 4 cases. They've not even read. Isn't there another way? And they're always looking for the other way. And of course, there are other ways. Some are legal, ethical, some are not, and so on. But in India, I find people sort of in the middle. They know that most of us are where we are by virtue of hard work. That we have no choice but to work hard.
Yeah. We haven't gotten things easy.
We don't have anything else except our human capital, We are not born rich. We are not born knowledgeable. No, we acquire whatever we do by hard work. But that said, there are people who still don't want to accept that there is no other way but hard work. And that bothers me a little bit, that I have looked at this now 15 years in Singapore and 10 years in Qatar. I can tell you that an MBA program to succeed, there is no option but hard work. You are basically sowing the seeds of a career that will last a good 30-40 years. आप यहाँ पे नहीं सीखोगे तो कब सीखोगे? You can get by, you can get a passing grade without learning, but you are doing yourself some real disservice if you do that. You are building shaky foundations on which you will never be able to make CEO. Your competitors will outdo you. If you are the marketing chief, you will find the finance guy just gave a presentation that blew everybody away, and you could not make an impact. Why? Because you didn't study as well as he did. So it's very important to put in the hard work. Most of us will not be back to college again. This is the last time. So to prepare for a career that goes 25, 30 years, you just cannot take it easy. And I think that is the thing that many people are misled by. They are told ek extra certification kar lo, instead of focusing on your classwork and doing a stellar assignment that blows your instructor's socks off, you take this extra certification. What point is that? And then everything fixates on CTC kitna milega, and a job role bhi to dekho na. I mean, sometimes you just have to think about it like that, a job that is really, really good. So we have a credit rating agency that comes here and offers jobs. The salary package is very poor, but eventually people have realized कि ये बहुत attractive job है, because if you do this, you are trained for life. After that, you can cash in and monetize that experience over and over again. So all I tell my undergraduate students, I tell them, go ahead, have fun, explore, everything is fine. Postgraduate, you're pretty much coming to the end of your formal education. अभी जितना सीखोगे, this is what is going to hold you up for the upcoming years, and then you don't want to shortchange yourself by not studying properly. But generally speaking, it's in your head that you start to figure out that if I hire a very expensive employee that has financial, effects on my company, but if I don't take that guy, I wouldn't be able to market my product, which could have impact on marketing. And if I can't market my product, maybe my factory will not be fully used. That has impact on production. Right. So all these linkages is left up to the students to build their minds. Subject तो सब देते हैं, and they pass and they do well on those subjects, but the sum total of how it all works together, that cannot be cooked up and served on a spoon. That is some reflection is required on the part of the student.
If you are good at something,
Yes.
and you thought that you probably are a numbers person, and you get into finance, and your job is to just learn finance, is not enough.
Is not enough, because MBA का goal तो at least general manager बनना है, if not CEO. We are talking 2 levels down. Correct. If not CEO, then VP. If not VP, at least general manager. Yeah? Not making general manager after an MBA is like an insult to the MBA. Financial controller बन के career नहीं end करो, general manager तो बनो. At least there should be 100 people who do salam to you as you come to office. I mean, people, power, you have to have a mini empire. That's what you try to build. And I think we took that seriously in our times, that CEO बनने का है. Of course, our problem was day one में ही CEO बनना चाहते थे, and nobody, of course, in their right mind will let you be CEO on day one. But that ambition was there, and nowadays many people are satisfied to be functional specialists and don't even aspire to be CEO or general manager. But the Harvard program, for example, is very much focused on general management. Even our MBA degree does not have any specialization written on it. There is no finance written on it. There is no marketing. It's just an MBA. And when you are MBA, I am expecting that somewhere between age 35 and 45, you will be the CEO of some company, chota, bada, something. If you're not CEO, how will you get to use all the management things that you have learned? The broad set of skills, the people skills, the quant skills, the coding skills, everything has to be used. And for that, you have to become CEO. I am very, pleased to say that out of my IIM cohort, a lot of them became CEOs relatively early and got to use a lot of what they learned in college. I try to enthuse my students, don't look at CTC so much. Of course, you got to pay the bills, repay the loan, have to pay the EMI. But job content dekho, job variety of job skills, potential of lateral movement, and get to be a manager of people. That's actually the most exciting part about management.
So if somebody is looking for an MBA program now, what should they be essentially looking for? Like, if I'm at the crossroads and I'm thinking that I want to do an MBA from an XYZB school, these are the metrics that I'm definitely looking at, because now I have to get out after 2 years, and there is an opportunity cost definitely that I'm putting out as well. I should be at a place where I'm satisfied with the kind of time and money that I've spent.
I'll give you a glib answer, then I'll give you a more serious answer. The glib answer is there are only three things that matter in an MBA school:
Right.
the quality of the student intake, the quality of the student intake, and the quality of the student intake. These are the only three factors that matter, because उन्हीं के साथ आपको समय बिताना है. If you spend time with them and they are bright, you will become bright. If you spend time with them and they are bhondu, you will become bhondu also in the process. Sorry to say that. So you want to go to a place where there are bright kids. And this is why people hanker after the IIM tag and all, not because anything mysterious goes on there, but some very bright and ambitious people go there, and in their company, it rubs off on you to some extent. But of course, that said, I guess people have limitations on where they can go. Sometimes they have geographical constraints, sometimes financial constraints, sometimes the score that you got a competitive exam caps how far you can go. In that case, I think you should look at what the atmosphere is like, पढ़ाई का atmosphere अच्छा है कि नहीं, and that is a failing in the Indian system. In the US, even for going to college, undergraduate college, people actually make tours. They travel with their parents, they go to college to feel the vibe, Is this a party school? Is this a hard school? Is this a fun school? Is this a geek school? All kinds of schools exist, and you try to find the kind that you are looking for. In India, we generally don't visit college campuses. We make our decisions without visiting the college, which I think is probably a mistake, because you're investing something in the order of 30 to 50 lakhs of money, translated into, if you take the opportunity cost and you take the direct cost and everything seriously, to make that big a purchase based on just advertising, based on just hearsay, I think is a little risky. You should go to see the college, and if possible, talk to some current students, talk to some alumni, get an idea of whether, what kind of people study here. And if you get the feeling that this is the kind of person that I want to be like them, then that's the right school for you. Beyond the CTC of 22 lakhs, that number covers more than it reveals, I don't really take those numbers very seriously. But logistically, ours is a big country. It's not easy to travel to all these places, How many people can afford to make a trip to Sri City to come and find out what IFMR is really like? But one thing I can tell you, if somebody wants to visit, I'll be happy to host him or her for a couple of days on our dime. आप आ जाओ गेट तक, stay with us. We
Amit,
will
probably
arrange.
that's why we come in here and we have these conversations.
Yes,
We
yes,
solve
yes,
some of these
yes,
queries.
yes. We want people to experience this thing. And if at the end of the experience they decide this is not for us, I perfectly value that judgment, because most likely we are not for you, Not all colleges are suitable for all people.
Who are these students particularly that should be looking at your institute? So, for example, we are sitting in here. I have seen a lot of UG people roaming around as well, because this is a university and it's an amalgamation of a lot of diverse people coming in here and talking and chatting about certain things that you probably don't hear in a B school per se.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
what
We are a sort of a hatke business school, We are a little different. I would say people who care to some extent about the world around them outside of business will find themselves in good company here, Of course, business is important. We have a long legacy in finance. We have had 100% placement for a number of years now, mostly in the, BFSI sector. Salaries are not bad, but all that is fine. But I think you want a person who wants a little bit more out of B school than a typical B school, wants to, attend a play by Manto, and wants to have his foundation shaken a little bit by reading a piece by somebody, you know, people willing to have their, come out of their comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
And have their assumptions challenged.
And now I think it has become very, very important, because people are waking up to the importance of communications in a big way. They are waking up to your prowess of how well you can sort of articulate yourself in whether you are selling something, whether you are pitching something, whether you are establishing your own company.
Liberal arts is a very strong foundation to build an MBA on. I mean, I didn't have the privilege of that coming from engineering, straight into business school. But if I had a liberal arts background, history, geography, rhetoric, English, logic, I could have probably crafted a better experience for myself at IIM than I actually ended up doing. In IIM, I was looking for the same kind of problems, numerical things that I used to solve in IIT. And when I found more of those, I was like very happy. ये तो आता है, calculator निकालो और जल्दी जल्दी कर दो. But I think there's more to an MBA education than that. I think the broadening will happen. It will not happen everywhere, but some colleges will do more than their fair share of this. Actually, I am Kodikode and all have already started doing a liberal arts MBA, and there are other colleges that are talking about a good liberal arts grounding for MBA. Those of us who missed out on the liberal arts because of whatever careers we chose earlier in life need to do some backfilling and find out about how things are, what is going on in the world, and what the implications are, because many of those things have implications for economics, for society. How does inequality in a society affect the economy? Most of us are like, really, it does? I have never heard of it. If anything is narrowing you down rather than broadening you out. So you need things that broaden you out. I would not mind people having classes in literature, having in history, sociology, psychology, and thoda bahut enterprising people who can balance their normal MBA workload with a little bit of exploration. That kind of people will benefit here, and people oriented towards doing things for the community, they'll thrive here.
You talked about cookie cutter MBA and the differentiation, and on paper, all of this makes perfect sense, right? But on the other side of it, where these companies, they are probably coming in here, they want you to be trained in certain way. They want these skills. They want these courses. They want you to do certain jobs that they have hired you for, right? And these very students are doing this MBA because they want
They need the skill set.
that
Yes, I know.
skill set
I
and
understand. I
the money
understand.
that's
I
on
know.
the annual.
I
How do
know.
you then justify? How do you then balance it out?
The thing that that's absolutely right what you said, and I really don't like people doing this, because what happens is the company knows very well that this guy's career is not going to progress very far. It is the nature of capitalism now that they'll take these students and they'll use them until they are good, and one day AI will come around, or a cheaper, hungrier employee will come around, and they'll spit these employees out. They are not thinking of bringing these employees to CEO level, which should be our priority. कि हमारे बच्चों को CEO बनाओ आप. Don't spit them out after 10 years of grind. What happens to him next? Where does he go now? Does he go to financial controller? Is that position open to him? No, that's only for chartered accountants. Arey, then why were you using our guys? If they had no hope in heaven of rising to the top job in that, then you should not have been exploiting them. But that is the nature of industry, I think, all over the world, including India, and people are looking quite short term. The company is not thinking about what will happen to the employee after 5 or 10 years. It's thinking about how much value it can extract. And that is why the way of hiring, that they hire the people who are the most concretely trained. SAP आता है, अरे SAP छोड़ो यार, ERP आता है. That is a better question. And an even bigger question is, do you know that IT can be leveraged for organizational growth? I mean, has it occurred to you that there are many ways of using IT, and ERP is not the only game in town? But companies want people who are trained in SAP. MM मॉड्यूल आता है SAP का, and if you don't know the MM module and जैसे FICO module आता है, तो MM नहीं आता है. अच्छा, all right, ठीक है. We understand that game, and we try to what we do, little workshops and things, 10 hours, 15 hours, crash course, SAP. Come here, we will give you one certificate saying SAP trained. No. But I think when companies come to business schools, they should really be thinking about the career tracks that they're going to offer to these people. Sooner or later, they'll get called out. I used to, I give you an example of a paint company that we used to go to from IIM Calcutta, a very prized paint company. Job was very simple. You become what used to be called assistant regional manager or a depot manager. And your essential job would be, you go to the warehouse, सुबह को जाके शटर उठाओ, बहुत ज़्यादा धूल है तो you लगाओ the broom a little bit, clean up, put your chair together, take your stock, you're ready for the day. Customers come, customers being not retail customer but dealers. Somebody will take 10 liters of paint, somebody will take 100 liters, you sell. Lunchtime, instead of wasting your time in the office, you get on your motorbike and you drive down the highway to some dhaba. On the way, you count how many of your hoardings are showing your advertisement or not. Evening time, rinse, repeat, you deal with some customers. End of the day, count your money. End of the day, put down the shutter, ताला लगा के 2 बार चेक करो टाइट हुआ कि नहीं. and then you go home. You are the emperor of that domain. It's a small place. I know it. You can call it. It's not even a shop. It's already go down. Yes, it's a go down, but it's yours. It's a profit center. End of the year, end of the month, your boss asks you, "Kitna paisa bana?" And you can say that I sir did a good job. I sold so much paint, especially the ones that you told me, jo bik nahi raha hai, that one I have sold a lot. From there, you first posting is Agra, next posting is Delhi, third posting is North India, fourth posting is global India, fifth posting is South Asia, sixth posting is global. The company has thought about what will happen to the employee, and I think it's HR's role to map that out. That this guy coming out of IIM Calcutta, in 3 years he'll be here, 6 years he'll be here, 9 years he'll be. Of course, he may not stay. That's a different matter. As he's learning new skills, the plan is there. We cannot be loyal to a company if the company is not going to be loyal to us. The company has to think about what is going to happen to us. It's very, very difficult to find another job if you lose your job at age 35, 40, 45. It's, in some industries, it's almost impossible to find another job. Company must have a plan, and if you find that kind of company, one that cares for its employees, thinks about the career plan and so on, I would work there in a heartbeat at a lower salary also. Salary is not that important, but at least I have the security of knowing that these guys are watching, they have my back. They are thinking about what will happen to me if I perform. If I don't perform, spit me out, I don't mind. But if I perform, then there must be a career track for me,
How do I look at a placement report? How do I understand that, these companies who have come in for, what are the kind of roles that they have given me? And are these the kind of companies who are going to keep me, retain me, or going to spit me out?
That is a hard call. I mean, if it's an ITC or a Hindustan Lever or Godrej Boys or a Godrej Soaps, I know they are going to. They have a tradition. They have a history of looking after employees. The so-called blue chip companies, I don't have any worries because I think they know, and they have put their money where their mouth is. They have developed managers over many years. Most of India's best managers have come from these companies. So those ones I would take in a heartbeat. If you get a name in a marquee company, you just take it. Doesn't matter what the salary is, doesn't matter where they're posting you. Bite the bullet, take the job. Of the other remaining ones, I think there is a big debate going on right now. Nobody really knows the answer. The smaller IIMs are taking a lot of startups.
Yeah.
Startups, on one hand, are extremely exciting because you are like that guy in that Agra depot. You are the cashier and it's like being in a restaurant. You welcome the guest in, wait here, sir. And then you lay out the table and then you take the order and then you go cook inside and then you serve it and then you bring the bill and then you collect the tip also and then you say next time फिर आइएगा Google में थोड़ा सा report कर दीजिए and all that. You have so many hats to wear. You have so much flexibility. And you may turn out to be a generalist, good at all these. You may turn out to be a specialist, really good at cooking. Startups give you that. Startups cannot give you the guarantee that you'll be employed 3 years down the road because the startup may not be around 3 years down the road. So the many colleges like the smaller IIMs have gone that route. कि ले आते हैं startup. There is freedom, autonomy, variety in the job. Let the kids try it out. Our college and similar colleges have gone the other way. No startups. Insecure hai. What if they are out of a job in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What will we do with them? Would we have done right by them if they get fired in 2 years because the startup wound down? See, last year was a brutal year for startups in India. A lot of startups closed down. So if you put a guy in a startup, even with a good package, and if he gets fired at the end of the year, have you done right by them? And we are sort of, I'm not saying me personally, but we as an institution think, no, we shouldn't do that. We should put people only in stable, existing, historical companies, जहाँ पे नौकरी पक्का होगा. Might not be much growth, but the downside is capped. But in startups, both the upside and the downside are not capped. You get sweat equity, which could turn out to be, if you held 1,000 shares of Google at start, that would be very, very valuable at this point, But nobody knew that Google was going to succeed because Yahoo did not succeed, Dogpile did not succeed, the 101 search engines that did not succeed. Google is, search engine number 102, but it succeeded. And nobody knew from the beginning. It's the nature of entrepreneurship that you cannot know before the fact. So I think we are now beginning to take a calculated call. Either we go for the job variety, the excitement, and go for the startups. And I personally, I have nothing against startups. But there is an old school way of thinking that you are carrying a 15 lakh, 20 lakh loan on your back, that you have trained for a career, that should be 25, 30 years long. We don't want you to lose your job next year. And startup mein dalne se, that is a possibility, unfortunately. So that is the question that we have to resolve. But both of those, I think, can provide. I think startups can provide you excellent job experience, but you have to be nimble. Most likely, you'll lose your job, not before too long. If you have earned enough skills by then, got a good portfolio of things that you have achieved, you can jump to another job, startup or not. I don't think we need to be so wary of startups, because even these big companies that we talk about, one day they were all startups.
For a student who probably is looking at the market right now
Yes.
and seeing the kind of things that are happening,
Yes.
definitely questioning whether he or she should be spending 15, 20 lakh in an
Absolutely.
education or not,
Absolutely. Yes.
how
Yes.
how do you then make a decision?
Once again, I will say the opposite of what I have done. Most of the time you'll find I say one thing and do another. I went to IIM Calcutta without a day of experience. I think people should really go get work experience. They must get work experience to get a sense of what is possible, what's the baseline. Without the degree, how far can I go? Maybe I can do something really, really interesting, really something that pleases me, has the happy mix of both job content and remuneration. And maybe I don't need an MBA after all. Not everybody needs an MBA. This headlong rush to do an MBA just because BTech begins with B and then MTech begins with M, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, ये कोई progression नहीं है. This is not a requirement. You may find yourself in a perfectly viable career based on just a bachelor's degree. Even today, I'm saying this. So I don't think everybody should go for an MBA. People should be worried about putting in such a large investment if you add in also the opportunity cost of not working for 2 years. And they should get a couple of years of experience. If you get the sense that you are not going to grow in this organization until you have that degree, I think that validates your decision. तब तो degree लेने को जाना है. No? But if it looks like people are getting ahead, they are getting promoted, they are getting good salaries, and you don't have to have this extra degree, you can defer it. This is not the end game. There are ways of getting an executive MBA later on in your career. So not everybody who is coming out of undergraduate needs to go to MBA school. Not everybody needs to get it now. Some lucky people may never need to get it. They might have perfectly successful careers without getting the MBA. I think it have to honor all kinds of beliefs. You can't really say that this is right and that is not right.
And what will be your last message for the 22-year-old, probably your son's age, who's looking forward to finding themselves the career that will suit them and the kind of life they want to build for themselves?
I would say be kind to yourself. Don't be harsh. Try out a few things. Failure is what success is finally built on. At least you will find what are the things that you really suck at, and don't do them anymore. They are not for you. And in the process of rejecting things that don't work for you, you will find some things that work for me. I thought I would work in corporate. Took me 3 years to figure out that corporate was not for me. That I did not feel that I was making that much of a difference to either the company or to myself by being in corporate. And the moment I started teaching in '94, that's like 30 years ago, I realized I'd found my calling. That this way, I get immediate gratification in the classroom. I get long-term gratification by writing papers and articles, and I have this sense, right or wrong, that I influence other people's. So gives me great deal of satisfaction. Some people are just lucky. It's like Ludo. You throw the die, somebody gets six before the other person. That does not make him a better person. I mean, 4 बार नहीं आया तो क्या करे यार, लगाओ फिर से. It's going to happen sometime. Can't give up on it. So I think young people should not be in too great a hurry to get themselves slotted and all. I'm thinking by late 20s, early 30s, if you've kind of found something that you are reasonably comfortable with, that's good enough.
Thank you very much for giving us your time. I know for a fact that once these cameras turn off, we'll still talk and
Yes,
we'll still figure out certain things that we were doing. If you figured out some things that you wanted an answer for, do tell us in the comments below. And there's a link in the description for you to know more about this particular institute where Professor Amit teaches here also. If you want to come down here and see things for yourself that we probably tried covering in the videos that we have made here, you can do that as well. And do share this video with people who you think might need this in their journey. Thank you very much, Professor. And I hope that you fill in your batches in the upcoming years with as many liberal minds as you can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.